Alright guys, I want to thank you for joining me for another video. As you're going to see today, there is a whole bunch of stuff sprawled out on the table. As you guys know, I can't ever leave anything alone, and we're going to be doing an audio upgrade in the new Chaparral Sunesta. So you're going to see a plethora of things here. How this started was when I first got the boat, the radio didn't turn on, and it is a 2007 Clarion radio that does not have Bluetooth support. So I figured I'd get something over here that supports Bluetooth, and the issue with that is the stern and helm remotes will not work with a new unit. So I had to get new remotes. With that, I eventually ended up getting the radio working. I found a article saying about removing the remotes from the equation and see if the radio turns on. I did that, radio turns on. So I think it's actually one of the remotes that's the problem. With that, once I finally got the stereo working, I noticed that my Clarion 6.5 inch speakers were paper cone speakers. The speakers were a little bit beat up, and the plastic tweeter covers were falling off, so they're rattling. So what do? You replace the speakers. So we went with a set of JL speakers. These are actually OEM replacements for OEM boats. They have a different part number. They're actually the MX 650s, but I got these significantly cheaper through Freeman's Car Stereo. So you're going to see the OEM part number is MCS-65CCX3-4-W. So these are the MX 650 speakers with the sport grills. The only thing different with these is they come in OEM packaging, so they don't have the fancy JL packaging. They don't have the mounting templates. They don't have the screws. It's just the speaker. You're going to see it did not come with the JL tags. You can get the tags directly from JL, but they do cost a little bit of money. Otherwise, this is the same exact speaker you would get with the MX 650. So we got those. We're going to get them hooked up to the stock head unit today. So I'm considering returning this and going with the Fusion setup. I went with the Clarion M508, which is the upgraded setup, and the upgraded NW3 remotes. And I'm thinking I'm going to swap this to the Fusion setup. The reason why I may do this, so I went with this originally just because this is the OEM replacement setup. The remotes fit in the stock locations with no issues. And that's nice. The problem with this is when you get this screen, these screens are tiny and they're kind of a no-frill screen from what I understand. They just show, you know, the source and the time. I'd like something that's a little bit more robust, a little bit bigger screen. It's going to show the, you know, artist, what song is playing, that kind of stuff. What I also don't like about these, I don't like these volume buttons, and I don't like that they're on the right-hand side. I would have preferred a more typical setup with a knob on the left-hand side. The other thing with this is I thought I read on Crutchfield's website that it came with 15 foot of cable, and I read that wrong. It's actually 15 inches of cable. So with that, to be able to do two remotes, you need to have one of these Y adapters. That's like 40 bucks. And I only bought one of these because I read wrong and thought I saw 15 foot of cable. You have to buy these 25 foot 8-pin DIN cables as well. So you need two of these. These are 40 bucks a piece as well to be able to get these remotes working. If I would have went with the Fusion setup, it would have cost a little bit more. Actually, it's $100 more for the head unit. And you have to get a DIN adapter for the head unit. The remotes were actually 25 bucks cheaper, almost $30 cheaper for the remotes. But the remotes actually come with 25 foot of cable. So I would have saved, you know, over $100 on the cables. So we're probably going to get the speakers installed today. I'm really going back and forth about returning this unit. Yeah, these remotes will fit a little bit better in the helm, but I can get away with one remote up in the helm and mount it close enough that it's going to look like factory. It just won't be flush probably, but I can get it close enough to where it's going to look better. It's going to give me the dial, and it's going to give me a little bit bigger display. So I may be doing that and then just do the one up at the helm and then do a wireless remote back at the stern then, and then do a cover plate. That'll save me, again, you know, over $100 on that as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop out the Clarion speakers, see what the openings look like, and get these installed at least. Alright, so here's exactly what was wrong with the speakers that I had in them. Again, you're going to see that the Clarions were essentially paper cones, at least from what this looks like. Maybe it wasn't paper, maybe it was a polymer of some sort, but it got very brittle and broke up, and the tweeter cones on the front one, it popped off and it was rattling around. They did still sound pretty good, but again, I can't imagine these are going to sound near as good as the JLs. When I did the measurement on the JLs, the holes should line up, fingers crossed. Let's go ahead and get the speaker out and see if they fit good. We just may have to drill new holes going around. Alright, so if you are thinking about doing the upgrade to the JLs, one thing you need to think about is the depth. You're going to see it. There is a considerable depth difference from the JL to the Clarion. For my case, it is not a huge deal. As you can see, I have plenty of depth for them. The only other issue you got to think about is the cutout opening. Let's see how they fit. See if I could do this one-handed. And yes, they fit okay. So we are good to go to figure out the template and drill some holes. All right, so when you're setting these up, you want to have the badge spoke pointing to the right on both sides because of the way that the JL badges sit in there. So I did try and just put a screw through the fiberglass to be able to drill a hole. That does not work out very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very small drill bit. I'm going to line it up because I don't have the drill templates. The drill templates are for the other grills that only have the 4 holes, and these have 6. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up, drill holes, and then drive screws through it. All right, first one is successfully installed. Did go much easier with doing pilot bits first. The screws that I use are stainless steel screws. I got these from Lowe's. I did 8 by 1 1/4 screws, and they were the oval Phillips head, and you can see that they do sit nice in the holes, nice and flush. So we'll go ahead and get the seat back installed and go on to the other ones. The grills on these Clarions are a little bit of a bitch to remove. Again, you can see these ones are all cracked. Put them up as well. So again, these do break up over the years of abuse. Alright, so you just want to make sure the woofer is nice and straight, the grill is straight. And this one actually sits down a little bit lower. This one was drilled differently from the factory, it looks like. Alright, now we're ready for screws. Alright, holes lined up. Go in with low tension on your screw. Remember guys, you're going into fiberglass and plastic, so go low tension on your chuck. Grill 2 done. And again, you can see by the cutouts, you can see where that one sits in the hole. This was not my drilling. This was how it came from Chaparral. See how that one sits in the hole compared to that one? That one sits up inside the cushion a little bit more. All right, now we got to get to the front units. Again, you're going to have the same deal for the front units. Again, they're all cracked. We'll go ahead and remove the seats, get in there a little bit better, and get at it. It's actually pretty funny. I'm on the 4th speaker, and the 4th one was the only one that actually wasn't damaged. Go figure. But let's see. Okay, it's actually not too brittle. All the other ones are pretty brittle and broke up, as you can see. So this is, I can't imagine these are the original speakers, but this is what years of moisture and salt water and salt exposure, cold and warm, will do to these speakers. So if you're getting some weird buzzing out of your speakers, take the grills off and take a look at them, because they may very well look like that. All right, all the speakers are installed, and we're just going to go ahead and turn on the battery and see what they sound like on basic FM radio. Again guys, I don't have Bluetooth, I don't even think I have an aux or anything like that, so I don't know how good these are going to sound like that. But let's check them out. Alright, we got sound from all of them. It's good. Sound from the back too. Sound, alright, good. See what it sounds like. Again, radio volume is not gonna work. Alright, so we know that's not gonna work. Let's see what it looks like for sound. All right, so everything works good with the speakers. I'm not going to go ahead and turn the music up because I'm going to get copyright infringed and my video is going to get flagged. They do crank pretty good with this bullshit radio, with this old Clarion radio. So let's get into the head here. So there actually is a problem with the radio. I can push on the screen there and things actually adjust on the screen. I actually pushed in on that and the screen was getting screwed up and zonking out here. So good thing we're going to be replacing the radio. I'm going to go ahead and try and plug in the remotes. I'm curious if the remotes work, and this was just maybe a problem with the radio. But I'm going to go ahead and test that out and see. But otherwise, the speakers do work pretty good on a crappy FM source out in the sticks, and we don't really get good radio. So I can't wait to hear what this sounds like with some decent bitrate music. Maybe I'll go get a CD to throw in this just to see how it works out. I do still have a stash of CDs, so now I am curious. All right, we are going to take this old school and we are going with CDs. I just remembered I have tons and tons of CDs from the 90s and 2000s. So we're going to find some random CD to try out in this and see what these speakers sound like. All right, so I did a test of varying different kinds of music, and these things actually do kick pretty damn good for 6.5-inch speakers, powered off an old Clarion head unit. It's got to be nil power. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm thinking I would probably like a subwoofer, but I don't know where I would mount the subwoofer. The only thing I could think is somewhere down below these seats, but we got that cooler over there, and then we got storage over in there. Maybe possibly right underneath that grab bar into the engine compartments. But again, everything is compartments, so I don't know where we would mount a subwoofer that wouldn't get in the way of any of those compartments. Otherwise though, with these being non-amplified and on an old head unit with no power, I'm very, very impressed with these. The price of these, so typically I think they go for $250 or $300 a pair. I got them for $150 a pair shipped, but I'll show you guys where I got them from if you want to get them. Again, the only difference between these and the MX650s was just the part number and the fact that it came in OEM packaging and not the typical JL packaging. But for a savings of $100 to $150 per pair, it is significant, so it was enough for me to want to buy them. I'll go ahead and link them down below if you guys want to purchase from them. I think they probably do have quite a few sets left. But yeah, overall I'm pretty impressed with them. I just got off the phone with Crutchfield. I did set up an RMA for the M508 and the MW3 remotes. I'm going to go with my initial gut, and I am going to get the Fusion RA70 NSX head unit, and I am going to get their whatever their remote is, the R300 or something like that remote. So again, initially I was a little concerned with the remote fitment in there, but I am going to just grind this out a little bit. It's only a couple, maybe 1/8 of an inch or something like that. I got to grind out to be able to get that to fit. Now it's not going to be able to fit flush mounted like that, probably. It's going to stick out a little bit, but again, it's going to have the dial, and I think it's going to have a little bit bigger screen. For the back, for the transom remote, again, you're going to see the Clarion transom remote there. I'm probably just going to take that out and make a block off plate for it, and then just stick on the stick on a wireless remote there. That'll save me about another $100 there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up the video here. I know it probably wasn't as exciting as some of you guys would have liked, but it's just installing speakers. Again, I can't play music because they're going to demonetize my video, which that's going to suck, and that kind of defeats the purpose of putting the videos up for you guys. So we'll go ahead and stop this video here. I will pick back up next week with the head unit install and the remote install, and I'll show you guys how mounting the cables, running the cables through the hole, and we'll figure that out, see if we can give you guys some ideas if you're going to do this project, or if you guys want to give me some ideas for doing this project. That will certainly make my life a little bit easier. But I'll go ahead and check that out, have that prepped for the next video, and I'll show you guys how I did it. Thanks for joining.